There is an envelope on the table in front of you. Inside it, a single line, a date. The exact day, the exact month, the exact year you are going to die. And the information is real. Not a guess, not a horoscope, not a probability. The exact date guaranteed, with no margin of error at all. Would you open it? Hold that answer for a second. Because the most disturbing part of this question isn't the answer you just gave. It's that it has already been answered. Not by you, by thousands of real people, flesh and blood, who held a real envelope in their hands. And what they chose to do with it is far stranger than you'd expect. Let me show you. There is a disease called Huntington's. It is hereditary, it is degenerative, and it has no cure. It usually begins between the ages of 30 and 50, and it slowly erases movement, memory, the person themselves. If your father or mother carries the gene, you have exactly a 50% chance of having inherited it too. A coin flip. And since 1993, there has been a simple, cheap, fast blood test that answers this question once and for all. It doesn't give you the exact day, but it gives you the only thing that matters, whether the sentence is written or not. That test is the envelope. It is real. And there are many people walking around right now who can open that envelope whenever they want. And here is the first thing nobody expects. Most of them don't. Among people who have a 50% chance of carrying the gene, who know the test exists, who often have free access to it, uptake rarely passes 20%. 8 out of 10 choose not to know. They would rather live with the doubt hanging over their heads for the rest of their lives than read a single line. They live at breakfast, at work, in their marriage, with a sealed envelope they themselves refuse to open. And at first glance, that makes no sense. Because the human brain hates doubt. Really hates it. In 2016, a neuroscientist named Berker ran an experiment that proved this in an almost cruel way. He put people in front of rocks in a game, and under some rocks there was a snake that delivered an electric shock. Sometimes the person was certain the shock was coming. Sometimes certain it wasn't. And sometimes they simply didn't know. And it was there, in the not knowing, that the body panicked. People sweated more, their pupils dilated more, they were more stressed when they didn't know whether the shock would come than when they were absolutely certain it would. Notice how big that is. Your brain prefers guaranteed pain to doubt. Uncertainty hurts more than the bad news itself. And it makes sense if you think about where we came from. A predator you can see as a problem. A predator you know is nearby but can't locate is torture. Evolution built your brain to loathe exactly this kind of sealed envelope. So if that's true, why do 8 out of 10 close the Huntington's envelope? Why do they prefer the very doubt the brain hates so much? Because knowing is not an event. Knowing is a repetition. The economist George Loewenstein studied something he called anticipation. And he found that human beings don't feel things only when they happen. We feel them beforehand. We live the future in the present. Good news down the road already gives you pleasure today. And a sentence down the road already kills you a little today. If you read the date, you don't die once on the marked day. You die a little every morning on every birthday you have left, over every coffee and every ordinary goodbye that suddenly becomes a countdown. The envelope doesn't hand you one death. It hands you all of your deaths at once in advance, to live one a day until the last. That's why most people burn it. It isn't cowardice, it's self-defense. But here the story turns. And it turns in a way almost no one is ready to hear. Because we start from a certainty, opening the envelope destroys the person. Finding out you carry the gene that the sentence is written has to be devastating. It has to break someone in half, except the data says the opposite. In 1992, a researcher named Sandra Wiggins published a study in the New England Journal of Medicine, one of the most rigorous medical journals in the world. For a full year, she followed people at risk for Huntington's. Some took the test and got good news. Some took it and got the worst possible news. And some didn't take it, or couldn't get a result, and stayed in the dark. Guess who suffered the most? It wasn't the ones who got the bad news. Over that year, the people who found out they carried the gene did not collapse. Their distress went down. They stabilized. They moved forward. And the group that ended up worst of all, carrying the most anguish by the end of the study, was not the one that got the sentence. It was the one that stayed uncertain. Let that really sink in. The bad news was more bearable than the uncertainty. Knowing you would die of a specific disease hurt less than knowing nothing at all. In other words, the envelope is not the monster we imagine. The person who opens it and reads the worst possible line survives the reading. They adapt. They stay alive, truly, often more at peace than they were before. The horror we project onto that paper is greater than the real horror of reading it, and there's an even stranger detail. Not even the ones who got good news walked away untouched. Some of the people who learned they were free of the gene struggled afterward, because they had built their whole lives around dying young, and suddenly had to learn to live with a future they never expected to have. Certainty, in either direction, charges a price. So the last question drops. If knowing is bearable, if it's the uncertainty that weighs the most, why do most people still choose not to open it? And the answer isn't in biology. It's in something much older. The anthropologist Ernest Becker wrote an entire book about this called The Denial of Death, and his thesis is disturbing. Almost everything a human being builds, art, religion, ambition, children, monuments, work, plans is deep down a giant machine for not thinking about our own death. Decades later, a group of psychologists turned that idea into a testable theory, terror management theory, and showed in experiment after experiment that when we're reminded of our own mortality, we change our behavior instantly without noticing, just to push that reminder far away again. Which means your entire mind is built to hide from you the date that was inside that envelope. And it hides it on purpose, not by accident, because it is exactly that forgetting that lets you get out of bed in the morning, make 10-year plans, love people who are also going to die, and live as if you had infinite time. The envelope in the end wouldn't even give you new knowledge. You already know you're going to die, everyone does. The envelope would do only one thing: shatter in a single second the gentle illusion that keeps you functioning. And that's why most people burn it. Not to run from the truth, to protect the one lie that lets them live. This video was never about a fantasy envelope, because the date exists. It always has. It is written somewhere on a specific day in a specific year, and you simply don't know which. No one ever has. And it is exactly that not knowing, the uncertainty your brain hates so much, the same one that made 8 out of 10 seal the real envelope, that is the only place any human being has ever lived. You woke up today without the date. You made plans without the date. You loved, argued, postponed, dreamed, all without the date. You made it here to this exact second without the date. Uncertainty was never the exception that envelope would bring into your life. Uncertainty has always been the rule. It is the only way to live there is. So maybe real courage isn't opening the envelope. Maybe courage is continuing every single day to live without it, the way you already do, the way you have your whole life, without ever noticing how quietly, how completely brave that is.